How's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. So you hit the like button upon coming in. Man, I'm pretty depressed with what I've seen. But then again, I'm pretty impressed with what I saw as well when I was down there for the holiday season. From Thanksgiving to like, it's going to be roughly probably the next 2 weeks. I'll be probably back on the road. But overall, man, I was pretty impressed with what I saw on a person to person basis. I was pretty impressed with what I saw, especially after these young dudes. Um, Now, no, I mean it's close to Tupelo, but not Tupelo. Like like this whole Magdalene encroachment that you kind of see online, it's kind of happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. The people who have their invalidated masculinity, like the things that they've been looking up to their whole entire lives, they're seeing now as a fool's errand. That is happening all over the country, by the way. It ain't just happening to a couple of people. It's happening everywhere. And I mean among most of these actual cultures too. It ain't just black, it ain't just white. You see it in Latino, and you definitely see it among Asians as well. The only thing these people need is just a pathway to productivity because they have everything else. They're already working menial jobs. The only thing they have to do is have a skill and move on to better things at this point. I mean, it's easier to fix these younger dudes. It's far easier to fix them. I mean, just looking at, where these people are at and what they're actually surrounded by and how much data and information and how much socialization it is among their group that they actually see and witness. Because right now, being a broke ass dude with no type of future employment, that's now seen as some whack shit right now. Finally. I mean, it took a while, it took forever since the 70s or maybe even the 60s, but yeah, right now, not having your stuff together, nobody wants to hang out with you like that. Like the only place that you have is online to actually come and hang out with people with now. It's finally became whack as hell. It finally became whack as hell to be not having your stuff together. Because this whole lie that most of these people were living up to, everybody has a level of inexperience right now. And unless you got your money extremely together, you really ain't doing that much with women out here. So the only thing you have to do is just refocus these dudes into the resources that are already there. Like most of these people don't even know these resources even exist. And their parents are definitely not trying to take advantage of these resources either. Because if their parents took advantage of these resources, then they would have less shit to complain about. If they were to actually be a participant in society, they would have less shit to complain about. But the point is, the kids are already better off with no experience. That's the great part about it. With no experience and no direction, they're better off than their parents are for the most part right now. Again, no kids to hold them back. The significant level of brainwashing about white supremacy and that type of stupidity, it's not even that much of a factor anymore unless you're around a lot of these pro blacks and all that type of idiocy. It's pretty much been well diluted. I mean, just pushing these people to where they actually obviously need to be right now, man. That's what's up, man. And it ain't even hope. It ain't even none of that. I'm just saying, on average, most of these young ass dudes are working. I couldn't say that about Generation X, my generation. I mean, them dudes got to the skills like most of them do work, and that's the great part about it. Is actually seeing how overall the things that the older generations are actually talking about, and you look at better functioning children, and you know them adults didn't have anything to do with that. I mean, these dudes talking about working on their business credits and LLCs and trying to get government contracts. We talking about dudes in their lower 20s. Wasn't nobody talking like that when I was in my lower 20s. Wasn't nobody talking about that. Like, I wasn't even in this type of stuff until like late 20s, early 30s for the most part. And now they're finally looking up to the people who quote unquote have all this experience as clowns now. I'm glad that that's happening. I'm glad that these people are seeing these outcomes for what it is very early, and they're dodging this stuff for the most part. I mean, it's tragic circumstances kept me in this area far longer than I actually needed to be. But man, look, they're a lot further ahead mentally because all the stuff that they saw, because all the stuff that they've been socialized to within their actual groups. What's going on, Central Web? Because of all that stuff, those people are doing. I'm telling you, man, they're doing way better with no experience. The only thing they need is just a little bit direction and a new group of people to deal with that don't have the level of problems that their people in their current generation are actually being socialized into as normal. So if you had new inventory for these young ass dudes to be actually dealing with, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. Because the current people within this environment, bro, they got that odometer clock flipped on them, man. They got a ton of experience that they didn't need. And we're talking about rural America here. We're not talking about no urban cities. Hold on a second, see what this is. Yeah, man, like a lot of these people picked up skills like during the summer. Remember, you're talking about underserved community, no real county help at all. And these people went out there and they just got the skills available and just kept going with it. While their parents sitting around not doing shit. I'm telling you, it ain't just one area of town. It ain't just one area of town. But most importantly, it's the forgotten men that are now a problem right now. The forgotten men who's now a problem. And the world should have forgot about these people a long time ago. But now these people are a problem everywhere. Because any type of progress that's meant to leave them behind, they'll come in and they'll sack the place on purpose. That's not what the recent problem is. Like all these dudes, like the former fake hood dudes, because real hood dudes ain't really out there like that no more. But like the former fake dudes who wanted to look up to the hood persona, those are the people who are out right now trying to destroy the youth, trying to find relevance among the youth. But a lot of these young ass dudes are not buying that shit from these older dudes. A lot of them dudes are looking at them dudes like they're clowns and they're crazy and they're dumb and that they're ignorant and they can see that they ain't got no accomplishments and they can see that to them productivity is everything because that's how they separate. To them, productivity don't mean anything because productivity means that you got to give it away to this family that you made, that you didn't want to be responsible for, that you expected everybody else to take care of. These dudes have actually lived through that already. Their peer group lived through that already. They can look at the outcomes and connect the dots through that already. No, they didn't have R&B music and rap music trying to run you back into these things as actual normal. Like they didn't. Dude, they see all of that now. No experience. Didn't even have to directly tell them. The live life experience is everything to these dudes now. So yes, these dudes going to have far better outcomes right now than most of these people who are here. And I couldn't be happier with that, man. Because the people who didn't know how to pick are still complaining about what they picked. Yes, you have that going on now. But that's always been a deal. Where you let a bunch of unhappy, misguided people going around talking about the outcomes of what they picked. This whole sour grapes thing. And the younger generation who ain't got no experience, they don't even know what they're talking about. And now the only people who seem to be getting caught up in all this nonsense of the previous generation are people who actually look up to the hood persona and the hood image. Those are the only people who are left. Those are the holdouts. Those are the only people who are left who's now repowering this thing. And here's the thing, it isn't the whole culture anymore. It isn't the whole culture anymore. It isn't a whole cultural expectation anymore. You can just now dodge all the bullshit, get to the money, and not care about what people think. We're finally there. It's finally whack as shit to be stuck in a city because you had a kid by the wrong woman. That shit's finally whack right now. The younger generations are seeing that this shit's finally some whack ass shit right now. They're finally seeing it. That's why the younger dudes are not here. Because most of these younger dudes, they ain't got no respect for dudes unless you getting your money out here. And I'm not talking about on some get the bag shit. I'm talking about on some highly productive shit. That's what they respect now. And most of these adults in these actual areas, they don't have that. Yeah. The only thing that the youth, which you have to get rid of this complaint from the youth. Now the youth are now actually complaining about not having a better start than they already had. I think that hatred is warranted, but I think that how quickly that they got to the money and skills and how they was able to see everything that's a problem now, I think the opportunities that they have far outweighs those complaints. But I do see their point, bro. Once you turn them loose on getting a skill, and that person haven't really ruined their life, and they realize they can get out of that uh, dungeon basement of their parents' place who's barely producing. Once they're able to get out on a one bedroom shit, no matter if they have to live in a bad area of town or not, once you let them know that look, man, that time's gonna pass. You better make sure that that time pass with your ass in school or with your ass pursuing a skill. Because guess what? You could be the hardest working man at FedEx and UPS and all these other fucking jobs for the rest of your life. End of the day, you're gonna put that time in for a newer skill if you want it. Because if you don't, you're gonna be stuck like the rest of these people are stuck. They finally see it. Now, cultural failure and holding your own self back so that way you can fit in with a whole bunch of people who definitely don't like you already, that's some whack ass shit too right now. Oh yeah. They see it. They finally see it. And it's good for the relationship argument to be in the hands of the youngest generation. Why? Because their actual goods is being ate upon by every other generation of people, and they should have something to say about that. Not older individuals who had their chance already, or older individuals who never had a shot, but definitely was in the actual ballpark of having a chance already. What's going on, Deion Davis? Man, these dudes ain't going, man. But it's like you got to deal with a lot of this anger and frustration from this young ass generation and put it somewhere constructive, though. And that's what I've been trying to help down here with is moving that stuff into a more constructive situation, getting them out of these actual circumstances, taking them to go see shit and see different outcomes from people who had far worse starts than they had. That's why the actual hood dudes and all the dudes with no fucking skill, that's why they're actually trying to double off into this entertainment piece shit. Because this is the only other way that they're gonna make the bullshit that they was on in the past count. And it just ain't some YouTube shit. It's everywhere everybody's on the same shit. These dudes ain't got no experience and yet they're still further ahead. Do they got a lot of time equity that they ain't doing shit with? And yes, they got a lot of parents who want to hold them back, who do not want to give them that information, who do not want to introduce them to that information, who do not want to socialize them into that information. You have a lot of that because their parents don't want to seen as being inferior when they clearly are compared to everybody else within their peer group. Yeah, man, like I travel around, man. I see a lot of younger dudes traveling. I'm talking about state to state. Back in the days, it was dude, it was a lot to even have a car, let alone insurance and everything else. Like, dude, you got dude 15, 16 years old riding their parents' car, crossing state lines. Dudes talking about going to Virginia and shit. I'm like, Virginia, motherfucker, you 16, 17, y'all going to Virginia? How the fuck y'all got money to just up and leave like that? Like, no, well, we all work. We all plan this trip and we gonna come out here, we gonna have fun. I'm like, damn, bro, we wasn't doing it at 17 or 18. We wasn't doing that, man. We was not doing that. You're right about that too. Right about that too. But but that whole entertainment piece mean that you got to constantly keep up shit and steal people's secrets and do anything. You got to keep cannibalizing people in order for you to stay where you are actually at. That's what the entertainment shit's about. That's what the Cat Williams shit is about. Out here telling all these motherfuckers personal business when that shit ain't not yours to tell. But when you're dealing with subcultures of personnel who don't know how to produce and this is all they have to do, then that's what you got. Well, back to these young ass dudes though, who are doing better. I mean, the cultural representation of a pimp is actual masculinity, dude. That shit's been gone. That shit's been ran out a long time ago. I'm not sure how that person got to be that shit, but within the culture itself, but that's what it is. You can now lay it bare. This is why we don't have progress. We don't have progress because of these reasons. You can lay that shit bare. You can put that stuff out with the younger individuals, and then you can show them how to get invested and involved, not only in their own self, but the rest of society. There was always going to be a major dip, and then there's going to be a lot going up. Because once the standard becomes productivity across the board, and nobody really cares about how many mythical women that you claim that you slept with at some level of masculinity, like once it comes to individual happiness, without doing stupid shit like that can obviously put you way behind, then you talk about better outcomes for everybody. But then again, because of this Maggle encroachment that you see here, yeah, this Maggle encroachment, you start to see these undereducated, underperforming, extremely ignorant, extremely information resistant personnel trying to talk about things that they are not qualified to talk about. They have no level of understanding about things. They just want to make a mess of every subject. and the younger dudes still ain't going. Dude, I told you, man, like when I went home for my 20th year class reunion and I seen a dude who was standing outside the liquor store 20 years ago start talking to me about Bitcoin, bro. I'm like, man, there ain't no way in the hell nobody listening to this dude about anything. He ain't got no motherfucking phone, but he talking about Bitcoin. I ain't lying. I'm like, man, look, bro, this stuff cannot survive under its own weight. The information in the environment is going to make these dudes obsolete. The information now that's socialized among people that make people obsolete. When I was in high school, a cell phone cost you literally about $400 a month when I was in high school. Now you can get cell phone for 19, $20 a month. And everybody's working, so everybody got a phone. Everybody got a phone, everybody got internet, everybody got social media, everybody got all that shit. Yeah, what's going on, Stu? Yeah. I'm telling you, man, bro, listen, man. These young dudes, man, you can get them connected to the actual process, get them some actual outcomes. As long as they have reasonable and decent people to work with, man, them young people's gonna be all right. They're gonna be fine. Like a lot of my nieces and nephews was born in god awful circumstances. Their fathers' lives are hell on the planet Earth. They grew up in that hell on the planet Earth baby mama or baby daddy drama culture. You know what they did? They created longer lasting relationships that they wasn't taught by their parents. Parents didn't go to college. These dudes already thinking about the future before they get out of school, before they get out of town. Already thinking about the future. Their fathers and mothers wasn't thinking about that shit. Their fathers and mother was just trying to have fun, last of the weekend, work a bunch of overtime, last of the next weekend, go on this trip, go on that trip, do this, do that, not think about the future. That ain't what the kids are doing. And I know they wasn't taught this shit by their fucking parents. I know they wasn't taught this shit. Because the outcomes, dude, like, listen, if you have younger individuals who have better jobs than their actual parents, the parents could have not taught these kids this shit. I know, because I know my brothers and sisters haven't taught their kids this shit. I know they haven't taught it, but the environment itself have gotten better. The level of information that can be accessed right now by the average individual is far higher than it was when I grew up in the late 90s. What's going on, Mike B? What's going on, LaRock? Far higher. And I'm talking about dudes with no experience. You just wait till they get with decent human beings and they ain't got to waste 15 to 18 years of their life recovering from a situation that they never should have gotten in the first place. They already got that time equity back right now. Not only that, but making better decisions about the future right now. Better decisions about the future being made right now. With the time equity that they have right now, living in the moment of getting my stuff together and planning out their actual future. That's what's normalized within this environment. Getting to the money, getting the skill, that shit's normal now. That shit wasn't normal for me not in the 90s. It was not normal in the 90s. It was not normal. Most dudes my age, in my 40s, had been pushed into a corner by getting somebody impregnated, and that's what made them go out and produce like a fucking man. Being pushed into a corner and having no actual choice but to work or go to jail for not paying child support. These dudes ain't got nothing. They ain't got to worry about that stupid ass shit. They could just go right to the money, right to the time equity, right to the results, right to the outcomes, and skip out on a whole bunch of that stuff. Now most people my age want to pull the, well, you know what, you gotta be a little bit more humble. Man, don't be humble with your these dudes wasn't humble at all. They made $5. They paid $10 worth of shit to show you that they made $5. They couldn't wait to put beats up in the car and rims on cars that's not even fucking worth it to show off their whip. They couldn't wait to do that shit. Now they want to tell the youth to shut the fuck up. When they got to the actual outcomes, without going through all the bullshit that the previous generations with the S went through, now you want to tell the kids to shut the fuck up. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sometimes it's not even the information. Like I said, there's a lot of information resistant personnel out here. A lot of information resistant personnel. I mean, information resistant to the point to where they don't even want to follow simple ass directions. They've been here for 200 or 300 years. Like politics has been here for 200 or 300 years. They see people go from having no voice to having more voice than they do, and they still don't want to follow simple ass directions. Still don't want to follow simple ass directions. Still don't want to do it. They want to do things their way that's going to take forever. What you have to do is you have to plot it on the map. Okay, what's your understanding of the situation? How are you going to get from here to here? Where have you seen this done? How long is this going to take? That's exactly what it is. Keep the noise down, successful man. You know what no one ever says? No one ever says to a person who claimed that they get a bunch of bitches to shut the fuck up. No one has ever said anything to peer personnel like that. They've never said anybody who claimed to be a player or a pimp within the fucking environment to shut the fuck up. No one has ever said that. No one has ever told that person to not be fucking humble. Like, listen, when dudes are talking about how they can put it down in the fucking bedroom and all that shit, nobody steps to the individual and tell them to shut the fuck up and be more humble. Nobody does that. But as long as you're joking and as long as you're talking about shit that don't fucking matter, oh, you can be as loud as you want to. But graduate from law school, get a decent fucking skill, have a business that rolls right without the help of fucking reptiles and maggots destroying your shit. Yeah, you got to be quiet about that. Why? Even though all this created input, created these outcomes that don't nobody want to take responsibility for. I just couldn't be more impressed with what I saw. And we're talking about Memphis. We're not talking about no motherfucking like no area that obviously have access to resources. We were talking about Memphis and the surrounding areas of Memphis. Across Mississippi, no further than Tupelo, by the way. Because once you get, below Tupelo, then you're dealing with a whole nother thing there until you get like to maybe the Jackson area or maybe Natchez. But yeah, man, like, and this is this area. These people are thinking about this shit. These people are contacting people all over the place, learning skills and doing shit. These people are already part of the gig economy right now in high school. I was shocked how many people who know how to do video editing and all that kind of shit in college. I don't know how to do that shit. I asked my nephew about that shit. Gave me a list of like 20 people who know how to do this shit. I'm like, damn, 20 people, huh? And those are just the ones he know of who just do it on the side. Not even people who do it for a living. I'm like, damn, man, bro. These people have a lot of inexperience with bad outcomes. These people live those bad outcomes. Are in the household of them parents. And the thing is, right now, these people can't afford to live in an area that actually sustained them all those years. They cannot afford to live there anymore. People are coming through, bulldozing those areas, turn them shits into high rises, and turn those things into actual higher income housing right under their nose. It ain't shit they can do about it. Why? Not politically active. Keep complaining about the system, but not really interested in actually learning how it works and actually participating how it goes. Yeah, you're going to continue to keep losing. I'm telling you, man, that magical encroachment is something else. It ain't just a manosphere. Cause like I went to church a couple Sundays, or actually most Sundays I went there. But you even see it there. In church you see it. We're talking about outcomes inside the community. Next thing you know, the dudes there start looking funny and looking crazy, wanting the conversation to change, all this kind of other stuff. Then service is over with, everybody's on their past the pork chop shit. Unbelievable. These people have no experience with these bad outcomes, but they want to base their whole masculinity based on romanticizing these bad outcomes. That's crazy. You know what these outcomes have actually done to this actual so-called community, and you still want to look up to it? You still want to live up to it? Unbelievable. Yeah, man, that magical encroachment is everywhere, man. But the point is that they're not skill based, so you can't find them in corporate America. You can find them in government jobs, trying to like live out that hood fantasy bullshit culture with like a government job, but you don't really see that shit beyond that. Kind of entertainment and food production and like that's as far as they go. They don't go any further than that. And by what they chose, they can't make it any further than that. So if you're not even on the entertainment piece or none of that shit, like dude, you'll never run into these dudes. You'll never run into them. The only thing you have to do is keep the conversation high level or high enough level to where you don't care about what they think. You're just going to operate within an operational capacity because most of these people don't like things to function properly because their actual basis of being included in the conversation is based on non-functional things. Yeah, just keep it functional and require these people to have some sort of career field outside of entertainment. Dude, you've already cleaned up your social circle. You've already cleaned it up. You already cleaned up your social circle. They don't have to try things with individuals that it shouldn't be tried with. That's what our generation did. We've already made those mistakes already. They just know not to even F with those people in their actual peer group right now. That fast production, that quick money, that money that's spent on nonsense, that doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It meant everything back in the day, but it means nothing now. No, they're too busy trying to look like they're making progress. Like they want to run in when it's already turnkey. They want to run in with record numbers and destroy it. It's kind of like these dudes with these PPP loans. People get caught up in this PPP loan fraud. They didn't want to create an LLC or a C corp in any other time in history, except when it came time to come scam some shit. That's the only time that they wanted to create it. But hey, you gotta leave them behind, man. And yes, there's a lot of people who just now starting out who want to try to make it look like that they're making it further than anybody else, but they're hiding. They're hiding beneath beginner conversations. They're hiding within the women-based conversation. They'll tell you straight up to their face that they don't care about politics, but everything that they talk about has a political motive associated to it, attached to it. Again, information resistant to the point to where they don't even want to solve their own problems because they got their voice based off of a problem existing. So why on earth would they want to give up their actual voice when they just got their voice? Again, the younger generation is just not going to be around here on that shit. They're not. They're already enjoying life right now. Dude, like when you have so many indiscriminate number of failures that you're actually surrounded by, and basically having a skill and dodging having a kid with the wrong type of person can put you in the upper 90th percentile of actual men in society. As long as you have a skill and you're able to separate and you can able to get your own happiness, that's huge. That's huge. But wanting to be celebrated as a success among these men who really ain't doing shit, that's where the failure part comes in at. Bro, you ain't trying to listen. You need to be like these younger dudes. These younger dudes are not romanticizing the street life. They're not doing that shit. That's some Generation X, boomer, millennial shit. Looking up to and wanting to be represented by street people or fake street people, dude, that shit's been obsolete. It, it's not obsolete to the amount of people who believe in that shit. The people who believe in that stuff is it's very vast. But man, I'm telling you, man, I wish I was surrounded by people like this when I was younger, man. It really wasn't even that many people. It doesn't mean that you're absolved from the actual outcomes that you actually have. You're not absolved from that shit, by the way. You're not absolved from it. You're not absolved from any of it. I'm just happy with what I've seen, man. I thought that being down there, then listening to this doom and gloom shit that you would actually see from this space. That's how come haven't been live streaming all that much. Because I'm just around better groups of younger ass dudes, connecting them to the productivity piece, connecting them to the political piece, showing them how to organize this actual information and to actually stop looking at this shit from generational failure and start worrying about your own generation, your own participation, and your own success. Yeah. Dude, they've been on some if you ain't got no skill, then you gotta roll out, man. No skill. You trying to ride this entertainment piece, man? Get the fuck out of my face with that shit, man. Get on with that. Man, I'm happy about these dudes, man. Damn, no experience, haven't been taught shit, but yet have better outcomes. And those people are desperately looking for leadership, too. They're desperately looking for leadership for a very specific reason. Because within their group, they're taught through experience not to trust adults. My nieces and nephews and cousins and shit of that age, they have been trained to not trust these individuals, to not trust people like me. They've been trained within their environment by their own parents and people of that age to do not trust personnel on this type of age and level right here. If they ain't got no outcomes, don't fuck with them. They've been taught that within their peer group. We wasn't taught that. within my peer group. Where I was with my grandfather or whatever. And when I went to the military, I mean, you got to see the consequences on full display from age 20 to like age 60 and everywhere in between. But these people know that shit. They know it. Eat, sleep, live it, breathe it. They know it. And to them, having a skill and doing a little something, it still seems kind of strange to them that it's not being celebrated by other people. It still seems strange, even today. A lot of these people are getting out of the actual ramification of going to fixing their credit early, dealing with the actual levels of society that you need to, leaving this buy here, pay here car loan bullshit, leaving this rent to own house bullshit the fuck alone, actually going out here and actually getting real estate for real, working on your credit for real, keeping your shit straight for real, not getting trapped up in that cycle of doing stuff quote unquote your way. Certain stuff got to be a quote unquote certain type of color before you believe it. Like, dude, them dudes ain't own that shit out here. They're not on that shit out here. Younger dudes, I know them parents ain't taught them people this. I know they haven't taught it because they're not exercising it. That's how I know they haven't taught it. Man, these kids have these outcomes. There's no way their parents taught them that shit. Especially if they keep falling for the okie doke. Nah, man. Nah, man. But that's clearly where we are, man. That's clearly where we are, man. I could not be any happier with these dudes. Dude, it's normal to travel other places now. Shit, I didn't even travel unless it was for football or track related. I didn't travel anywhere unless it was going with the team. I didn't travel anywhere. Not in high school, especially not in junior high school. Shit, nobody had a car. That small ass city we in, shit, this about 3 miles by 3 miles, dude. You ain't leaving that place. Dude, these people got access to cars, access to phones, access to information, access to being able to get jobs while other grown ups are just laying around not doing shit. Dude, they got access to a lot of stuff that they're doing a lot with. I just have to warn these dudes. Don't let these bitter relationship motherfuckers start holding you hostage with their failures. Don't do that shit. Once these people start complaining about that spilled milk on their relationships and outcomes they got, hey man, look, you ain't got no experience. Listening to those people ain't gonna help you get that experience. Get out of there. What's going on, cynical one? And these people got the power and the tools. They know how to talk better. They know how to interact with power better. They know how to follow basic directions better. They're more invested and involved in the actual environment than their actual parents are. I know this stuff wasn't taught to them. There's no way this stuff was taught to them. But they ended up there anyway. Why? It's what everybody else is doing. Once there is a centralized level of information that is normalized among people that is not normalized, you just see people break off and scatter into the actual zones that they own. What's going on, Doug? It's kind of like the space where, after relationship conversation kind of divided the space into what it needed to be divided into, the lack of political awareness and actual participation by individuals. So they want to jump off into conversations that they know they're not qualified to have, so somebody can come in and correct all the bullshit that comes out of their mouth. Dude, it's crazy. It is indeed crazy. However, this Magdalene encroachment is something that's real. This is a cry out for help. It is a cry out for help. It is a cry out for help, saying to the world that we are obsolete. We need help. We're going to take you hostage if you try to leave us out here. And trust me, you think these panel hopping dudes in the space jump online and they destroy conversations? Do they do the same thing? Dude, that Magdalene encroachment is real. These people cannot wait till you start talking about progress so they can shut the conversation down. Anything that has to do with leaving them out, they want to shut the conversation down immediately. Yep. If you allow enough of them to be there, they will pull the conversation down to lowest common denominator type things. They do it all the time. And I'm talking about people my age. They would deliberately get around younger individuals who are doing far better than them and try to turn their productive conversations into conversations about unfuckwittable women. As if these dudes don't know because they don't have any experience with unfuckwittable women. So why would you come here trying to talk to these young ass dudes about unfuckwittable women when they don't even have access to that shit and you don't either? And it's clear to everybody that you don't have it in either. I'm telling you, this stuff is just going to keep getting worse and worse as these people fall further and further behind, more and more out of relevancy. Because right now, you're going to have everybody start to dive headfirst into this entertainment piece. You're not even going to be able to turn a corner without somebody trying to keep up with what's going on with this relationship shit. You better. You better. Otherwise, you're going to be left alone, left behind like the rest of them dudes. And that ain't some shit that you want. I'm actually pretty happy that a lot of these actual students, even though they're better participators in society, I'm glad that they skipped out on going to school for no aimless fucking reason and having a whole bunch of fucking student debt before you find out what the fuck you want to do with your life. I am happy about that shit too because I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I was in school. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was going to school to run away from the law enforcement profession. And then I got into IT, and then I didn't like that shit either. Once I became a project manager and seen the levels of overlapping incompetence that was around, I kind of got out of that shit. Got into what I'm in now. Loved it here. Able to produce. Was able to make nearly the same amount of money, like 100 and a half, within a couple of years. Yeah, it was great. But I'm glad these dudes are skipping out on that shit too. Skipping out on that 30 or $40,000 in student loans from an ITT or a DeVry or any of these other vulture ass degree mills that don't offer you shit but a whole bunch of theory and no direct access to any type of job positions. I'm glad they skipped that on that shit. I'm glad they skipped that on that. People of my generation didn't skip out on that shit, but people are getting right to the skills, right to the money, right to the skills, right to the money. I'm also starting to see this minimum bachelor degree bullshit starting to disappear from fucking job postings and shit too. I've been noticing that for a while. That they just want you to have the actual skill set. Because most people know that most of these schools don't fucking teach you how to actually act within the work environment and provide any type of direct skill to the work environment. You just go to school and pay them a whole bunch of money to be taught out of these expensive ass books that don't lead to no direct outcome. I think if you taught people how to think and operate within these environments, yeah, man, like the outcomes would be way better. But that's not what school is set up for. The only thing they literally got to teach you is how credit works, how to build business credit, and how to directly pick the actual career field for you to invest in for a lifetime. If they were to supplement all the history and social studies with that direct shit, dude, we have way better fucking outcomes. Way better outcomes. But then again, you don't need the school system to do that shit for you. You can pursue all that shit on your own. And that's another thing. All this self help shit is for free. You can learn how to do anything in the fucking world online for free before you start to go, go to your latest huckster fucking gobbledygook class that you bought when it's pretty much free information that you can obtain. Again, it's a lot of practical application going on out here. A lot of it. And not a lot from my actual generation of Generation X, or boomers, nor millennials. All this shit's coming from the youth. Are there people within a certain percentage who figured this shit out? Yes. But it's not nowhere near the point of percentage that it is from younger individuals. Yep. Different editions of the same shit that they barely teach out of, but you got to fucking buy all those expensive ass books, $100 a piece, $200, $50, $75. Yeah, man, I remember that shit. I remember that shit, Doug. Shit. Tuition this amount, books this amount. Tuition this amount, books this amount. Absolute bullshit. But that's the thing because people in education have figured out that a degree don't equal job. Degree equal job for women and some minorities, but it doesn't mean that shit for white males anymore. They're still killing it on everything, but having the bullshit degree doesn't really lead you to outcomes anymore like that. That's why the male participation is lower because men want science-based things that they can turn from actual skill to actual work. Yes, people want to go to a technical school, learn a skill, and get on. Nobody wants to be 4-year degree and then you end up management so fucking fast food shit. Like, dude, you could have worked there for 6 months and did that. You could have worked there 6 or 8 months, stayed in one position, learned how the actual system worked. But no, you got 30 or 40 thousand dollars in student loan. You done wasted 4 years, and now you're in basically a beginner position. There's no need to do that shit, dude. Dude, I looked at 7 editions of the same book, same misspelled error in the same fucking place. All 7 fucking editions. Man, we was cracking up laughing. The same misspelled word, same incorrect sentence structure across all the series of the same fucking book. But you had to buy the book in order to be in the class. No, I have not read that book directly. No, I have not read the book directly. But I can see that this is going to be a problem. And I don't think people not attending school is a problem. I think that school should have an actual basic purpose and point. I think that we got too many degree majors in school that don't produce shit out of these boys when they do go to school. Hey, you know what? You want that government money? Start creating better outcomes for these people work related. You create better work related outcomes, then yeah, you shouldn't have a problem getting members in school. But if you don't create no good ass outcomes, and I'm talking, and I'm not talking about job placement. because they kind of confuse the words at each school. Where you look at the shit and it says job placement assistant, and they just post a whole bunch of bullshit that they post anywhere else, like on Indeed or anywhere else, and you just pretty much qualify. Like, nah, hell no, man, bro. You got to be able to have good and better outcomes that you're sending people through. I did too. That's why I went to Denver Technical College. That's right. You have people who teaching from Lockheed, Bowen, Northrop Grumman. Yep. Only thing they was there to do is go there and scout talent. Teach these classes, but make sure that you scout talent. That's exactly what they do. I mean, shit, they do the same thing now. IT managers and shit, they go teach at these colleges, Community College of Denver, Community College of Aurora, scout talent. Yep. Oh yeah, man. Especially as an OTR person, bro, you can overstep a lot of shit. A lot of shit you could do. You can outpace people. Like, listen, one of the only dudes who took my actual advice from my $1 million trucking program. He was a young ass dude. I think he was 21 when he started. That dude was retired by 24, man. Had some property out there in West Texas. He had a whole bunch of acres, and he just worked partial portion of the year. No degree, and that's what he did. Yep. Hold on a second. See what this is. Yes, indeed, man. A lot of people get into this money quite quickly. Yeah, man. I was looking through the storage, man. I had jump boots that I have not worn. I think this is the last pair of jump boots I bought before I got out of the military in 2021. No, 2001. I still got these fucking jump boots. Holy shit. Man, I bought these bitches for like $250. I still got them too. They are, but you got to move to the money though. Like that's what people have to really understand. And that's how I kind of wrecked myself for a while. Is shit dried up in Colorado, but I didn't want to move to the Indianas, the Iowas, even the Omaha, Nebraska. I could have moved there and did better than I was doing in the Denver metro area. I was just like, fuck it. If I can't live here, then I'm not gonna use these skills anywhere else. It's a bad idea. I could have easily went to a Montana, New Mexico, Utah, but I just tried to ride it out in the Denver metro area. But then again, a lot of these dudes are willing to move to these actual areas and move to the actual money. That's another good thing that they're doing. They're moving into these areas. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. It's time to move up that ladder, man. Stop worrying about these dumbass outcomes that these other dudes are worried about and get to the money and get to the happiness and stop thinking about this community shit. Community is for losers. People who talk that community shit are nothing but carpet bagging fucking moronic losers. They ain't got shit to fucking offer. The only thing they're trying to do is signal to people in that actual situation that somebody's gonna come save them from their actual positions that they put themselves in. Bullshit. Nobody's coming there to do any of that stuff for them. Yeah, man, that hazmat quick card combo, getting on with a port company, and end up getting a contract for one of the ports. That's some of the best money in this industry. Some of the best money in this industry. Twit card, hazmat, tanker, port job. And you end up getting one of them port contracts. And you be 24-hour on call. Because, like with anything that's air freight and container based, the shit's never on time. And they always need that stuff off that port immediately, especially if it's hazmat. They want that shit off that port as soon as it get there. As soon as it get there, they want that shit off of there. Yeah, but the options out here, man. The options out here now. And it's very clear the people who haven't been taking advantage of these options. Because they're trying to make other things seem like it's far more important than the things that they shouldn't have been that they should have been into the entire while. That's how trying to blame women like they ain't perfect becomes the actual object of what these people are talking about. We're talking about somebody else's relationship downfalls and issues become far more important than fixing your own shit. Like you need perfect women on every fucking block for you to go get your own shit together. Fuck out of here. Doesn't matter how many perfect women are here. If you ain't got your shit together, you're just not gonna qualify for them. So you think holding your own self hostage and not fucking producing is somehow it's gonna help this situation out? Why the fuck would they help the situation out at all, man? Again, younger dudes don't need to be told this shit. They live this shit already. Their peer group lived this shit already. It's just the vast majority of boomer X millennials who's keeping this bullshit going. It ain't the younger motherfuckers out here. It's that three generation problem. Holding on to that old ass glory. Then you gotta move to another company, man. You got all that shit, you gotta move to another company. Having all three of those, I mean, it's gonna seem like it's starting over, especially with any tanker company. They don't give a fuck how good your record is, man. They're just not about to put your ass in a tanker, especially not through no winter time, and let you drive that shit around unless it's local. You got to start asking some of those people who have those actual hazmat placards on the side of their trucks. So you need to find out who those customers are, so that way you can start getting on with those companies. That's how I figured out the shit. That's exactly what I did. I started tracking this stuff back to the source. Start looking at the people, cause you meet them at the pump every day. Just look side to side. Okay, you got placards. Okay, what company you work for? Whose customer is this? Can I take a picture of the BOL real quick? Yeah, you can find out who these people are. Because no matter what it is, there's always a process that create whatever product that is. Always. I'm in northern Michigan, chilling out. Think I'm gonna chill here for like another month, maybe month and a half, before I get back on the road. Yes, indeed, man. That Magdalene encroachment is going to be a heavy piece in 2024. You're gonna start seeing these people come out of the woodwork everywhere because they have no identity, and they desperately want to get away from the identity that they invested so much of their time in. I'm just like, look, man, don't let these dudes ride around, man. Don't let them ride around in your face because you will be mutinied out of your own stuff with these vast number of lost ass men. Yeah, because the twit card is just another type of background check. That's all it is. Another type of background check. Cause they just ain't letting anybody on them ports, man. I mean, like a twit card is almost like a need to know clearance. A twit card, even though it's just the fingerprinting and just waiting for your actual shit to come in after you pay your $60 or whatever. But how much that twit card is actually worth to employers? Because you have to wait like I think like 6 months to a year to get a twit card now. It used to like 10, 12 years ago. No, that shit used to be very quick. But if you can save them that much time, you already got your hazmat and all that kind of shit. Like, dude, you'll walk into 100 and a half with a lot of these companies just doing port shit, just locally. That's what it is. It's a clearance. A twit card is an actual clearance to go on ports and not steal shit. Because when you go to a port, you realize that there's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shit just lying around every fucking where. Doesn't matter where you go. You're going to see millions of dollars worth of shit just stacked up. Like when I go to this lead place in Baltimore, you see about $10 million worth of lead just stacked up high as you can actually see. Only thing they got is this little ass gate that somebody can just easily break into and just walk away with millions of dollars worth of shit very easily, if they actually wanted to. I'm not broadcasting for people to go do that shit, but that's why they have to have you cleared to go on there. Now you have the government sign that say this is an official trade zone, and anything you touch, you're gonna get a gang of years in prison. Yeah, that's the only thing it is. It's just another clearance. That's all it is. Yeah, especially if you have your own dump truck. Yeah, yeah, that's about right. And most of the time you're in that dump truck, you actually don't need to just do anything. You're just there with the actual stuff in the dump truck, unless they just need the shit. Let's say that you do like fracking water or something like that. You're just there driving the tank around. The truck is on, and you don't even need to move for 10 or 12 hours. And they'll pay you that kind of money if you have your own truck out there. Well, that is true. But a lot of these people buy those trucks and then they don't want to move around with the money. They get too used to living in like these West Virginia, middle of nowhere, Colorado, middle of nowhere, Ohio, middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. They buy them a place out there and they don't want to move with the actual money. So they end up selling their trucks or actual dump trucks at the end of the season, which is right now. Like you can pick up most dump trucks right now at the end of the year. Between now and March is when everybody's selling them because ain't nobody really working in the dead of winter like that. But then by the time April come around, the prices are way up. Everything's back open. You can drive all over the country. That's how the industry works. And it's been working like that for a while. Oh yeah, but you can get dump trucks for way cheaper than that. You can get a dump truck for like 40 to 60 thousand dollars. And most of the places that actually sell you these dump trucks, they actually have connects to get in the industry. Because they just ain't gonna sell you that truck and not actually have you making the type of money that's gonna have you make those payments. Yeah, but most people talk about the money that can be made, but they don't talk about the know-how and the experience and the getting on with people that you have to do to actually make all that shit work. work good together. Yeah, but you can pay that dump truck off in a couple of years. A couple of years of straight working, you can pay that thing off in a couple of years. So with that said, we get up out of here and get back on to doing what I'm doing. I'm up here in northern Michigan. Hold on a second. Let me show you what I'm looking at right now. Hold on a second. Camera. Mm, 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 mm. That's what I'm looking at right there. That 2024 Mac. Yeah, they got the 72-inch extended sleeper. I came out here to come look at it. I came out here to come look at it. I'm like, man, a 72-inch sleeper on a Mac. I mean, that's how come I didn't buy Macs because they was on some 40-inch sleeper, 56-inch sleeper bullshit. This year they got like a 72-inch sleeper. Man, I gotta look at that. Nah, it ain't available no more, man. I go teach families about the industry now. Yeah, I really don't do that no more. Oh, I really don't do that shit no more. Most of it's on Patreon though, but like the course for what it was, like to go from like 0 to like 2 years to buying a truck, nah, that shit ain't available no more. I turned that shit way into something else. Yeah, I did. I told you, bro. Like, all right, like when I did that video, because that land had a lot of water with it. I sold that shit in like 6 months for 4 times of what I bought it for. I sold this shit for 4 times what I fucking bought it for in 6 months. I should have kept that shit. No, man. I sold the fuck out of that shit. Cause what I did is I bought it and then I cleared the actual trees from around that actual lake to where they can build houses on that land. Because nobody wanted to go over there and clear out the land. That's the only reason why nobody bought it in the first place. So I got with some developers and I got the contacts to the actual people who can go out there and turn around and actually go clear out the land there because it was a lake, but it was a lot of trees that like it was a lot of land and trees and shit. But if you remove those trees from the actual land, that's where you can build actual properties and shit. Yes, cut down the trees, sold the fucking lumber, and um, because you don't just go sell the land like that. So what you do is you clear out the land. All right, this is shop talk. But all right, so what you do is you go out there, you clear the land, you get with a builder, you start plotting out where the houses are going to be at. So every property that is sold in that community, I get a piece of the actual money that's there. Because he gave me the playbook and he bought the land from me, but he still cut me in on how this is actually done. Even though he did buy the land from me, he was like, I'm buying the land, I'm doing this. I didn't have to tell you that I'm doing this, but the next time you run across something like this is what you need to do with this. Because he had no interest in clearing the fucking land off either. But he did show me what I should have did with it while still kicking me in on it. But I still sold it for 4 times more, and he still kind of cut me in on what he was doing after the shit was over with. Because mostly he was just happy that somebody went over there and cleared that shit off because he couldn't get nobody to do it. So what I did is I do what everybody else do. Take your ass to South Carolina or North Carolina or even Mississippi, and you go rent some equipment from United Rentals, and you pay for them dudes' hotel when they come up here. You deliver all the equipment to there. You have everything set up, and then you just hire them to pretty much work that actual area to clear all that fucking land. And then once the land's clear, you take all the shit away, you put it back on the market. Now it's worth a hell of a lot more than what it was before because nobody wanted to clear the land. But certain type of individuals, they live to go fucking go clear land. That's all what they do. They don't care. They want to go and destroy shit. That's just what they want to do. But nobody in Virginia really had that skill set. And even if they did, they knew what the land was going to be worth, so they was going to try to charge her ass a whole bunch of money for that shit. Because they know what clearing that land actually meant. But that's neither here nor there. So I want to thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you like the video. On the way out, power to the actual producers, the people who actually want to produce, not people who want to produce problems and pretend like they don't understand specific processes so that way they can rewrap the conversation around their ignorant ass. So that's it. I want to thank y'all for coming through on the man. Tomorrow, you guys have a really nice rest of y'all day. Peace.